Hey, wanted to talk through making a song specific keys patch. So I've got open this session that I created for the song Whole Heart, and in it you can see a couple things. Here is the multi-track audio for the stem that they called organ, and this is the sound that I'm trying to recreate. And here is a MIDI track that I made, and I just played in all the MIDI of what our keys player would do, along with like modulation wheel automation. And then on it, I've got a virtual synth that we use for almost everything called Omnisphere, and you can see the patch that I made. So I'll walk you through just kind of very briefly how I did this. So here's the sound we're trying to recreate. I'll just give you a few snippets of this. Okay, so we've got kind of a darker sound at the beginning, this analog organ sound, and then eventually it gets quite a bit brighter. So I usually start with, I'm going to duplicate this and just call this one like, we'll call it stock. Whoops, call it stock. I'm going to turn off my EQ I put on it, and then I'm going to open up Omnisphere and just kind of start with probably like, I'm just guessing this is the patch that I started with, this one here. So let's give that a bit of a listen to just see how this stock patch that I chose compares to the organ, and then what changes I probably made to get it to sound more like how I wanted it to. So for me, there's definitely some differences there, but it's somewhere kind of like in the ballpark of something I can start tweaking and really making sound how I want it to. So I'm gonna try to show you what I did with this track compared to what we ended up with here, which was my final product. So, all right. Here's our stock patch. Look at sound layer A. Looks like I changed. Okay, so here's a stock patch. Here's what I did. So I changed probably two main things. First of all, you can see some differences here in this filter section. And let's open up our modulation routing. And this one doesn't have one. Okay, so I added that. So I just gave it a different filter cutoff setting. And then in the ADSR envelope, I changed the attack, decay, sustain, and release. I also changed the velocity response, so that way velocity on the keyboard doesn't change the volume at all. It's just pretty much a stagnant volume, and that's what I do for all the pad sounds. Let's look at the B layer. Okay, this is where I got really different. So I added this noise layer, and then from here it's just kind of other stuff. I added some other Juno layers, and I'm guessing that these are probably the bright sound. Yeah, this is the part that gets brighter when you really pull up the mod wheel. And then I might have changed out some effects. We'll briefly look at those. All right, so here's our effect A layer. Looks like I added stereo imager, some EQ, a low pass filter, and then from there, there's probably some more stuff I did. Yeah, quite a bit of more stuff. So I'm not going to go into all this, but you can see I changed a decent amount of things. And a patch that sounded like this now sounds like this. Which is a lot closer to this. I'm going to jump around a little bit on this part where it gets brighter so we can check that out. I'm going to A/B between the patch I made. I'm getting rid of the stock patch, but the patch I made and also the multi-track. So anyways, there was my best go at making that sound. I'm going to show you one more example. This is one I made for this song, Faithful Now. So one sec. All right, let me just showcase this one. Here's what I was trying to recreate. So we kind of got three different sounds. Real dark organ thing, and there's a little bit brighter layer that comes in, and then the next chorus to here. And like the brighter layer turns up even more. So here's what I did. So if we pop up an Omnisphere, this one I didn't start with a stock patch. I think it was just, well, okay, I used something here called a multi, which is layering 4 or up to 4 or patches at a time on top of each other. So I've got, let's see, this sound along with this one and this one and this one. And all together, they sound like this. So if I had to guess, the modulation wheel here, we're starting with basically just this A patch at the beginning. Yeah, A is the only one that's really playing there. And then when we get to the first chorus, the modulation wheel starts to bring in the volume of these other three. And then once we get to chorus 2, full mod wheel, we've brought in the full volume that I wanted in these 3 other sounds. I did one other thing here where I stacked these in a way that below the note, probably E4, which is the E right above middle C, we're only hearing Glorious Saw pad, and then above that, we're getting only these 3 patches. So you can hear here how, those 3 notes here are really just that sound. These are those other 3 sounds. If I turn off stack, well, if I just let all of the sounds be full keyboard, it sounds a little different and worse in my opinion. Anyways, you can see what I did there. There's just a couple examples. I will always, let's see, kind of mix these volume appropriately. And then when I go to save, I'll just save the file and put them in Dropbox in ECC Ableton patches. And then here are all my song specific patches. And then on the Keys computer, if you go to that folder, which I've got linked right here on my session, you can see all those patches and just like drag and drop them in. There you go. Hopefully that was helpful. See you later.